Pemberton and the Forgotten Star, a bedtime story by Michelle Emerson. Read by Beverly Chen. Hello, little dreamers. If you love cozy bedtime stories like this one, be sure to like and subscribe so you never miss an adventure. Now, snuggle in, get comfy, and let's begin. Adventures are funny things. Some creatures spend their whole lives dreaming about them, setting off toward the unknown with a twinkle in their eye and a rucksack full of cheese sandwiches. But country mice? Oh, they're different. They prefer the familiar comforts of home: warm tea, a soft bed, and knowing just where the sun will land on their favorite rock in the afternoon. Take Pemberton, for instance, a plain brown mouse perfectly content with his little burrow on a gentle hill overlooking a quiet pond. Ducks paddled below, squirrels leaped through the trees, and beyond the farthest field stood a farm with woolly white sheep. It was a peaceful place, and Pemberton had never once thought about leaving it. That is, until the night the wind whispered to him. Pemberton was sitting outside his burrow, sipping warm clover tea, when the wind curled around him like a ribbon and carried a soft, silvery voice. "Find the forgotten star." Pemberton twitched his whiskers. "A star? What business do I have with a star?" He took another sip of tea and decided it was none of his concern. But that night, he couldn't sleep. He tossed, he turned, and every time he closed his eyes, he saw a tiny flickering light, lost and lonely, longing for the vast sky. With a determined sigh, he pulled on his old sturdy felt hat, wrapped himself in his warm wool cloak, and stepped outside. Word of his adventure spread quickly. The ducks gathered at the pond's edge, murmuring amongst themselves, before old Mr. Mallard flapped forward and presented Pemberton with a sturdy walking stick. "Every adventurer needs a good stick," he said, puffing out his chest. Then the squirrels scampered down from the trees, chattering excitedly. "You'll need food too," they said, and pressed into his paws a sturdy loaf of acorn flour bread, wrapped neatly in a crisp leaf. Pemberton's heart swelled. He wasn't used to grand goodbyes, but it warmed him from the inside out. With a deep breath, he took his first step beyond the familiar path, and his adventure began. Pemberton followed the whispering wind down the hill and past the pond, his new walking stick tapping lightly on the ground. After some time, he stopped beneath a tall oak tree and unwrapped the acorn bread. It smelled nutty and rich, and as he took a bite, he thought, "Well, if nothing else, I'll have had a fine meal today." Further along, he spotted a patch of sweet wild strawberries, their ruby red skins glistening in the sunlight. He picked a few, savoring their burst of juicy sweetness. Then he reached a crystal-clear brook, the water dancing over smooth stones. Kneeling down, he cupped his paws and took a sip, the coolness refreshing him for the road ahead. Little by little, the world beyond his hill didn't seem so scary after all. He followed the path into the woods, where he met Professor Minerva, a wise old owl perched upon the highest branch of an oak tree. "A mouse out so late?" the owl hooted. "Where might you be going?" Pemberton hesitated. "To find the forgotten star, I think." Professor Minerva blinked her large golden eyes. "A noble quest indeed, but beware, the star is hidden beyond the river of echoes, where voices of the past linger. You'll need a light to guide you." With that, the owl plucked a small glowing feather from her wing and handed it to Pemberton. Pemberton wasn't sure how a feather would help, but he tucked it into his cloak, thanked Professor Minerva, and continued on. When Pemberton reached the river, mist curled above the water, and strange whispers swirled in the air. "Turn back, lost forever, no way across." Pemberton's ears flattened, but he squared his shoulders. "Nonsense," he huffed. "I may not be an adventurer, but I know a trick when I hear one." Remembering the feather that Professor Minerva gave him, he took it out of his cloak, stuck it on top of his walking stick, and held it up. And suddenly, the whispers faded into soft, singing winds. The mist parted, revealing an old wooden bridge stretching across the water. Pemberton scurried over quickly, not eager to linger. Beyond the river, the land rose into rolling hills, and there among the grasses, thousands of fireflies twinkled like fallen stars. Pemberton watched as they flickered in patterns, forming words in the night air. "Follow the light where the sky meets the earth." Pemberton scratched his head beneath his hat. That must mean the tallest hill. So he climbed, higher and higher, past sleepy wildflowers and moonlit rocks, until he reached the very top. And there, in the center of an ancient stone circle, lay the forgotten star, a small silver orb, dim and quiet. Pemberton knelt beside it. "You poor thing," he murmured. "You're lost, aren't you?" The wind swirled gently like a sigh. He thought of his own cozy burrow, of the warm glow of the pond at sunset, of the friendly quacks of the ducks and the rustling chatter of the squirrels. "Everyone deserves to find their way home," he whispered. With both paws, he lifted the little star and held it high. The moment he did, the wind whirled into light, and the star rose into the sky, glowing brighter and brighter, until it found its place among the others. And just like that, the forgotten star was forgotten no more. As Pemberton made his way home, the world felt a little brighter. The fireflies danced in joy. The river of echoes was calm. And by the time he reached his burrow, the star twinkled brightly above his own hill, as if thanking him. Pemberton sighed in relief, took off his hat, and curled up in his soft nest. "Well," he yawned, "I suppose one adventure wasn't so bad." And with that, the country mouse drifted into the coziest sleep, dreaming of the star that had finally found its way home. The end. And now, dear listener, it's your turn to rest. Close your eyes, snuggle up, and let the stars twinkle just for you. Tomorrow will be a wonderful day, perhaps even an adventure of your own. Good night, little dreamer. Sleep well.